I went to FPI, as we usually called it then. I did my OND, and then it was time for IT. What do you call it? IT, right? And then I did my IT, and I told everybody I wasn't coming back for HND. So I started to pursue OAU again. And then they gave me, this time around, an admission to study demography as social science or something like that. I'm like, yeah. So I was torn in between getting a BS, because I wanted BSc by all means. Like, that discrimination was insane back then. Like polytechnic. So I made up my mind because I knew what I wanted. And I decided that, okay, I will go back to the Polytechnic to finish my HND. So these days, I don't put it there, but I think I need to put it in my profile so that it doesn't look like, something, UK, US. And so I got the HND. A couple of things happened along the line. And as soon as I came out of my HND qualification, I served in 2001. 2001, I started my ICANN exams. And as part of doing ICANN and ACCA, I got my BSc qualification in applied accounting, right? But since then, every step I took was because I wanted to build a career in what? Accounting. My first question is, what career are you trying to build? So we are talking about career. And then there was no social media tensioning. There was no, this person is doing, there was no technology. So I think the focus was like precise. Now, I'm not saying technology is not good, but I'm saying there are a lot of distractions these days. I have a feeling that some people here are not even sure of what they want. I have a feeling that some people here are looking at people around them to determine what they want to do. I put out a tweet earlier this morning, and I said, listen, sentiments and people's opinions would not put money in your bank account. So they said, my friends think, actually, everybody is going to Canada. I might consider going to school in the UK. Now, are you going to school in the UK because of what is happening in Nigeria? Mind you, I'm not saying it is not good. I am just saying, hey, they said how to make yourself stand out amongst the crowd. You cannot be doing what everybody is doing and expect to stand out. Listen and come very, very intentionally with me this morning. I have defined 4 definitions, and I am trying to explain them, to break them down to you. So my career has been in what? Accounting. Some people are just looking at me like, look at me like you are learning and you're listening now. Let your body language show that you're learning something. I define a job, right, as something you do for a living. In the course of my 22 years career, I have done different jobs. Some did not exactly align with accounting, but because for the moment, I wanted something to bring money. Are you with me? So, in the course of practicing as an accountant, I have moonlighted as a support staff, right? I have moonlighted at an auditing company. It wasn't really called accounting, but they wanted to gather some information database. I moonlighted and I got paid for it. So, whilst your career is something, it doesn't mean you cannot pick jobs. But what I see these days is that because you are not sure, today you are coding. Tomorrow you are decoding. Next tomorrow you are uncoding. The next day you are undercoding. You need to decide what you want. So I may be, let me give you a practical example. Let me quickly take a trip down memory lane. What are some of the jobs I've done? Because, hey, let me tell you, on this journey, I'm glad I'm able to say these things, but when I was going through them, they were not exactly palatable. Sometimes because of circumstances, There are so many temptations to do what people are doing. But you know what? Straight and narrow is the way. I will not succumb. Women, I will not sleep around. I remember when I was in Bauchi, when I served in Bauchi in 2001. So then, computer use was not exactly popular. So amongst all of the coppers that they posted to NEPA where I worked, I was the only one who could use a computer. So once they deployed everybody to the field, like go and be chasing money, go and be cutting lights with staff, they left me in the office. So I was the only one doing all of they bring the reports, I will put them on the computer, and I had a boss. He was like the senior accountant of the entire NEPA office back then. He chased me, wanted to have an affair with me, and he kept saying, you know what, I will make your life good. See, all of those things are relative. You have not even started. Imagine if I had dated him then, probably even got him pregnant, and I'd be in one Bauchi, living such a very mediocre life. You have a glimpse of where you are headed. And you therefore must not and cannot jeopardize the future because of your current circumstances. So things might be currently hard, but you have your career plan. You're picking jobs part-time to help you thrive and, just take care of your needs. Are we good on those 2 points? I've not even started. I'm just laying the foundation. Then we talk about work. No, so I have picked a job as a finance manager. On that role, I have done budgeting. I have reported for multiple companies. I have done consolidated accounts. That's work. So when you say I'm going to work, no, you're not going to work. Yes, you are going to work, but work is not a destination. Work is the task. Are you with me? I want you to start to change the narrative. I want you to be able to correct people in law when they lump all of these terminologies together. So when you say, I'm going to work, that means that's a verb. I am going to work today on tasks. But work is not a place. I am going to work on my job. My job as an accountant, I am going to do this and that and this and that today. So stop saying I am going to work. I am going to my office, right, to do my job and to do my work. Are you with me? Now, the last thing is calling. Because I'm glad I'm in a church, I'm in the midst of people of faith, and we must realize that in our pursuit for money, in our pursuit for career fulfillment, you must never forget that there is a calling upon your life. And it is not about being a pastor. It has to do with the spiritual gifts that God has given you and how you can be a blessing. For example, as part of my calling is philanthropy. I help tons and tons of widows on a monthly basis. We provide skill acquisition programs for them. Does that have anything to do with accounting? But it's a calling, lifetime calling. And I will do it till I die, by God's grace. So do you see, I have my career as an accountant. I have worked on jobs. I will continue to work on jobs as time and as life permits and as opportunities permit, right? Now, the work that I do on my job varies. So I may pick a job today, I'm a senior accountant. I might pick another job tomorrow, I'm a tax consultant. Do you see? So jobs will change from time to time. The work you do on the job will change from time to time, right? But your career is long-term. So you must be able to maneuver and manage those things as opportunities come. Some of us, you don't have career clarity yet. Some of us have gone to school because our parents wanted us to do one thing or the other. My dad wanted me to be a doctor, the first doctor in the family. But I knew I had a knack for figures. Thank you. And thank you. And he would say, no, Shola, you're so brilliant. You do medicine. And I'll be like, no, Daddy, I love figures. I want to be an accountant. When I finished my GSS3 exams, I think my results were the best. back then, so they posted is not the word, but they sent me to the science class instead of commercial class. I don't know what they call them these days. So for a month, I was doing physics, chemistry. I was miserable. And I had to go meet my principal, like, this is not what I want to do. I could have just flowed along and then struggled all my life. Some of you might have gone through school because your parents thought, or because you thought that this was what you wanted, but over time you realized it wasn't working. Hey, don't be afraid to do a turnaround. These days, let me even be truthful. The things that we learn in school, all of those qualifications, actually, they're good. But these days, the dynamics have changed. You apply for a job, and it is not based on your qualifications. It is based on your soft skills. It is based on your experiences. And I'm like, what is going to happen in the next 3 years? These days, they will say, skills required, leadership, something. You think the children we are raising these days will say they want to go and read law? Do you hear of some of the courses that they do in unis abroad these days? Have you heard about some of them? Yeah, give me names, give me examples. Data science, robotic analytics, artificial. How many of us read artificial intelligence in school? Things are changing. And that's why we must constantly look into our career trajectory, make plans. Along the line, I realized that I was getting a bit bored with accounting. And I moved into personal finance. So accounting didn't bring me here today. What brought me here? Personal finance. So about 7 years ago, I was like, okay, I have done my bit in the accounting world, even though I still have my qualifications. But I want to do personal finance. And if you look at me in the last 5 years, additional qualifications have been along the path of what? Personal finance. If you check me out on Google, what you will see about me is that I am teaching personal finance. So it's okay to maneuver. It's okay to sort of not improvise, but keep checking out yourself, checking out your trajectory, checking out what resonates with you the most. We have seen people who read zoology in banks. We have seen lawyers turned accountants. We have seen accountants turned businessmen, right? Whatever resonates with you, whatever gives you joy, not forgetting that along the line you might pick up jobs. But the ultimate goal is what? The career progression that you want and the calling of God upon your life. Some people like to motivate people. It might be a calling. Some people are natural encouragers. It might be a calling. Some people like to feed others. Some people like to cook. It might be a calling. So usually there's also like something that connects your career and your calling. So I think I've done justice to explaining all of those terms. What do you think? Have you learned something new? All right, so how do you stand out amongst the crowd? Having explained all of these things, the first thing I would want you to do, first exercise is, think about it and write it down. What career do I want to pursue? What career do I want to pursue? What kind of jobs am I willing to take? As they come, fine. What do I think my calling is? Do you have answers? Or you're still thinking? By now, you should know what career path you're following. Have we all written down something? What is my career? And what do I think my calling is? What are my spiritual abilities? What do people think I know to do? I also realize that I have a calling for building tribes, for building communities. I look at my life, 22 years, all of the things that I have done, communities I have built, are still standing. Even if I am not there, they're still there. Women, I think it's a calling, right? It doesn't have to do with accounting. Are you with me? So, have you written down what I said? What do you think your career is? What do you think your calling is? And I'm going to share 7 things, and that will be it. to drive down the points I already shared and to drill further down into the topic. How do you become dependable on your career, on a job, at work, and in your calling? So I am expanding the topic. The topic was, how do you become dependable at work? And I'm saying that dependable at work is very limited. How do you become dependable along your career path? 2 years ago, you were relevant. Today, you are relevant. Tomorrow, you will still be relevant. That's the kind of thing we want to build for ourselves, right? And the second thing is that, how do you stand out from the crowd or amongst the crowd? 7 things. Number 1, and there are 7 G's, because I love to play with words. What's up, G? You are in church now. Is it a bad word? So why are you not, why are you just looking at me like that? Number 1 G, have a game plan. To stand out. Life requires intentionality. Yes, we say people stumble into success and fame. But most times, if you have a word with them, if you talk with them, you would realize that they actually prepared themselves for some of those things. So if you said somebody stumbled into fame, the person did something at least to have been recognized. Are you with me? Have a game plan. And a game plan will just center around all of the things that I already discussed. I want to be an accountant. Let me tell you some of my plans and my desires. That one day, I will be the finance minister of Nigeria. And I will be an ambassador of Nigeria to the US, to Canada at different times. Right. Thank you. Thank you. So meet your future finance minister. I am not just confessing. I am intentional. That's why I won't go on social media and be dragging anybody. That's why whatever post I put is edifying. That's why I don't want something to crop up in the future that, finance minister, she stole people's money. I won't do that. I have a vision. I love a quote that says, nothing guarantees a good future like a correct picture. And you cannot feature in a future you cannot picture. Did you get that? Should I say it again? Nothing guarantees a good future like a correct picture. And you cannot feature in a future you can't picture. I have a picture. Today is a picture that I had 20 years ago. And I am sitting very happy in it. But hey, I have a future. I have a picture for the next 5 years. I have a picture for the next 10 years. And I have a game plan for it. You can't say, you know what? Technology and social media have even made things, I don't want to say worse. Like, they amplify both the good and the bad things. You can't say you want to be somewhere or you want to become somewhere and your social proof says otherwise. 10 years, 15 years, the internet never forgets. So have a game plan and be intentional. Let your every decision, let your everyday action, let your words, let your affirmations, let your efforts show that you are heading somewhere. Are you with me? Regarding your career, regarding your goals, regarding whatever it is, have a game plan. And it doesn't have to be whatever anybody is doing. Everybody is relocating. Bless their lives. Right? Everybody is jackpotting. God bless you. I won't jackpot because everybody is jackpotting. Now, I know that has been something that we have been saying. Hey, take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying don't jackpot if you have the opportunity to jackpot. I'm not saying don't pick up an admission from a school overseas if it is in line with your game plan. And as long as you're not doing it under pressure, as long as you're not doing it because 5 of your friends are now in Manchester, in Sheffield, in London, in Toronto, in Ontario, in Vancouver, let your game plan determine. If my game plan dictates that I go to the US and take a course, I will do it. Well, I'm married though, not like I can just get on a plane. We will discuss it. If it aligns, we will do it. And by the way, I've got 3 boys. So I can't just jump on any decision. I'm just trying to say, because I'm talking to young people, guys, if I could trade anything to be in your shoes, where you have the time, all of the time, you have the energy, you can decide that tonight I'm not eating. And nobody is chasing you. Mom, we are hungry. Sometimes you just look at your life. How did I get here? 3 boys chase. How? When I left school 22 years ago, I was like, yeah, I had all the world ahead of me. Good things have happened, though. They are good things. But I'm saying that time. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself. But those little humans are coming. Say, Mommy, we want to watch cartoon. They don't even know what is happening in the economy. We want the AC. We want ice cream. You pick them from school. We want to go to Grand Square. Hey, are we going to London? You guys don't even understand. So, guys, enjoy this season. When I say enjoy it, enjoy it. Most times we are in a hurry to grow up. Who has done us? Who did us? I put up another tweet a couple of days ago. When we were younger, we wanted to wear our mommy's high heels. These days, my shoes are in my flats. Once I'm out of here, I change. Back then, we wanted to wear bra top. Ladies, like this bra, let it grow now. These days, I don't want to wear bra self. Don't be in a hurry to grow up. Take that with a pinch of salt. You should grow. But don't you want to become an adult by force, like you're adult. I hope you get my drift. I want to do what people are doing now. You will do it tired. But enjoy your life and enjoy every season. Have a game plan and let it sort of guide you. You are not too young to have a plan. Overseas, there are systems in place that encourage people right from when they're young to sort of navigate their lives. Unfortunately, we don't have it here. But if the government is not doing it for you, if your parents are not doing it for you, do it for yourself. I started traveling Lagos, Shagamu when I was 10. So my father was transferred all over Nigeria. So I grew up fast. I started taking decisions when I was 11, life-altering decisions. Do you see? Have a plan. And because there's social media, there's internet, there's that possibility of being tensioned and pressured. Forget it, there's nothing there. One day, maybe we won't have Instagram, it will be another app. All of those things. Sometimes this even follower, this blue tick. What does it amount to, no? Nothing. They are good things, but they are just metrics. So, have a game plan. Are we together? Number 2, set goals according to your game plan. When I teach personal finance, I tell people there are 3 types of goals that you should set. Don't just say, my goals. 31st of December now, Pastor Dami would say, bring out your goals. Some of us, we are just writing it out in church. Yes, sir. For 2023, this is what I want to achieve. Calm down. That's not how to set goals. Here is a practical way of setting goals that has helped me over the years. 3 types of goals, and I break my goals, across different areas of my life, into 3 categories. Short-term goals. These are the things I want to achieve over the next 1 year. My finances, my academics, and all of that. Mid-term goals are things I want to do between 2 to 4 years. Do you know why a lot of us burn out? You want to achieve something that is realistically mid-term in nature in 1 year. You need 15,000 pounds to go to a uni. You live by yourself. But it has to happen like now. You don't have savings anywhere. You're working and you're earning 100,000. If it doesn't happen now, it doesn't mean it won't happen. Move it to midterm. It's still a goal. You are not removing it from your radar. And then long-term goals are things you like to do 5 years and above. So when they write goals, don't say, I want to buy a Rolls Royce in the next 1 year, when you don't even have a bicycle yet. So I'm not saying these things are not good, but these are practical ways of doing what? Setting goals. Use faith, but be realistic. Pace yourself. Some of us, you want to go to school in the next 1 year, you want to buy a car, you want to pay rent, and you want to get married. Yes, now, goals are free. You can set goals freely. Imagination is free. So at the end of the year, you now come to church like, I've not done anything this year. And then you are angry with God. You're angry with pastor. You say, Pastor, God doesn't answer your prayers. You don't tell him, but you are telling yourself. It's not God. The Bible says, how many of you would like to build a tower and would not first of all what? Sit down and do what? Count the cost. Count the cost. There are things you can do realistically within a year. There are things that may not be realistic, but with a bit of help here and there, you can do them. You must know, you must be able to break things down and have conversations with yourself. One thing I've realized is that we don't talk with ourselves. We talk with people. Say, this is what I want. One of the things I have built for myself over the years is self-awareness. And that's why you can't say something and it will pain me. Because I know it already. So look at her, she's proud. I'm self-aware. So I sit down, Shola, this thing that you did yesterday is not good. That's how I talk to myself. Go down. Don't do it again. You know, man is tripartite in nature. Spirit, soul, and body. Your body in a soul, or your spirit living in a body that has a soul. So there's usually like a contention. When you do something that is not so good, then you think your whole life is about that thing. Your spirit and your soul are saying, hey, guy, you are flesh, you are human, calm down. But we don't sit down to have that conversation. So, auntie, this goal that you want to do, oh yeah, you want to have, what's your income revenue for 1 year? 100 million. Oh yeah, sit down. It's possible, but sit down. Oh yeah, how do we want to do it? So I'm not just talking with people. I am talking with myself. My level, people say my self-awareness level is like, I agree. So if you come and say, look at the way she did, I'm like, that's not me. Maybe I was in a bad mood, but the real me. So if you say, she's very intelligent, of course, I know. She's very smart. You really? You think I'm smart? Somebody say, hey, you think I'm intelligent? I didn't know. Lie, you can't catch me saying that. Say I'm smart, thank you. I receive it with my full. Say you are brilliant. Yes, I know. Before uncle. So have conversations with yourself. Discuss your own goals with yourself before you now go and meet somebody. Some of us, we have goals. You have not thoroughly thought about it. You now go and meet your friend. Say, I want to make 20 million in the next 1 year. You? How? You know all of those things. Validate yourself first. People will validate you. My mentor, Nick Adeyemi, would say, people will not say thou art until you say I am. People will not say you are Shola Adeshaki until you say I am Shola Adeshaki. Do you get my drift? So, second G. Third G, are you learning something? So to make yourself stand out, there are a lot of people you must stand out. 7 billion. I think we have exceeded that amount. But people still stand out. We all can be Jeff Bezos. We all can be Elon Musk. We all can be beautiful like beautiful people. Right? We all can travel the world. But within what God has given us and in our own place and space, we can stand out. I am proud to say that when they are mentioning finance coaches in Nigeria, amongst the first 5, my name will come up. I know these are things that go and Google it. Finance coach. First page, my name is there. Try it and tell me if I'm lying. I didn't do anything. I've just been doing my own thing. But it happens. It happens. game plan, everyday action, my goals. Third G, I want to stand out. So I am not chasing anybody. I don't know if people are chasing me, but I'm chasing my goals with God on my side. That's how to stand out. But some of us, somebody is doing it like this, you go and change your strategy. How many people do business here? Right. They said it is reels. If you don't do reels, you will not gain visibility. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something that has happened to my Instagram page in the last 1 month. I don't know, maybe experts here can teach me what is happening. So in the past, I will do sponsored ads just to gain a couple of more visibility and followers. I don't do reels. I'm not a video person per se. I used to be very shy, not any longer, but I'm not that kind of, I came here, do reels. If you go and check my page, I'm more of a story writer, storyteller. So I share from my experience. So on my page, you won't see a lot of videos, but a lot of words. And then 2 weeks ago, I put out a post about a friend of mine who every month after she earns her salary, she will take herself to a restaurant and she will order a good food every month, sacrosanct. And she will say, spirit, soul, and body, here we are. We did it last month. Well done. Let's do it again. And I tweeted it and then I brought it to Instagram. What's happening? 21,000 likes. Organic. So all of these algorithms, within 2 days, I had about 3,000 followers. I'm like, what did I do? And then subsequently, after that post, I had an average of 7,000 likes, 6,000 likes. I'm like, what is happening? I have not done any reels, though. It is still the same words, Twitter posts that I have been doing, that I am doing. If I want to go and follow those who are doing reels, who have to change 20 times a day, or who have to do makeup all the time, I will struggle. So let me stay in my place. Or I want to carry white paper like Pastor Dami does. That thing is just so mind-blowing. And I say, me too, I want to put it there. See? I won't last for more than 1 day. So know yourself and walk in and with what works for you. Number 3G. Are you learning something? I'm beginning to wrap up. I have how many G's more? 5, and that will be it. Glitches. There will be glitches along the line. I have failed exams. All of those qualifications that they read in between, I failed like twice. Picked myself up, went back for it, and I got it. I have been disappointed. I have lost money. My friends have abused me. Even my parents have said, what exactly is it? You have done ICANN. What do you want? When I did ICANN and I wanted to do ACCA, my dad said, I have done what? Tried for you. When I was going to do my ACCA, my first salary ever was 900 naira. Yeah. 900 naira. Yeah. I said 900 naira in year 2001. My first salary. And then when I was going to do my ACCA, maybe I was earning about 9,000, and you had to pay in pounds. I had to talk to one uncle. My uncle was living, and he's still living in the UK. I don't do beggy, but that one, it was like my mother's immediate older brother. Uncle, I have a deadline to pay these exam fees. And he went on and on. It's when he shall paid it. I shall did the exams. I shall pass the exams. Today, I won't beg anybody for exam money. That was then. So along this path, there will be glitches. Sometimes you don't feel like, but you still pick yourself up and you know what? I've got this. Some other times you have done the exam. When I passed my ACCA in 2007, I had a friend. We were reading together. She did it. 5 years after me, she still had not passed. The day she passed, it was my pass. It was everybody's pass. 5 years. Some of us would have lost hope. Emi Oshemo, is ACCA the ticket to heaven? It's a ticket to your career. So you keep pushing and pressing. Are you with me? So don't let the glitches discourage you. Let me know how many minutes I have more, please. Glitches. There will be glitches. Jeff Bezos, 2 weeks ago, lost 100 and something billion. Stock market. That night, the guy went out with his girlfriend on a date. It's we Africans that we want to die. You have 2,000 in mutual funds. He said the thing has gone down. There will be glitches. I run an investment club. We've got members in about 35 countries. The Smart Investment Club. This year has been especially challenging. But we show up. If I was going to allow the way things are dictate what I do, I won't be here today. I was in court last week. We are taking them to court, taking them to EFCC. But we get up, we pray up, we show up, we give up. As in give up, not give up. Oh. Like you give, just keep giving. Glitches will come, but keep going. As long as you have that game plan, you have those goals, you will accomplish them. The next G, like I said, I love to play with words so that when you go home, you would remember. You need the right set of girls and guys in your corner. Literally, networking. And the right set of people. You have to be intentional. We are all on this bus called life, but we are not going to the same place. We enter into a plane. Some people, thank you. Thank you. Some people are going to America, but they are on a London plane. Because when they get to London, they will board their connecting flight, right? But that we are on the same Virgin plane to London does not mean we're all going to London. Some people are going to Paris. Some people are going to Italy. Some people are going to Finland. Some people are going to Ireland. Some people are going to South Africa. But they have a meeting first. So that we are all coming, we are all in this Lagos. Does not mean we are going to the same place. You need the right set of people around you. Collaboration is one of the new gold. You must be intentional. This one, I can spend the remaining time explaining and begging you. There's a Yoruba word that says, Koeromero. You can't Koeromero again. But we've been friends for 20 years. I'm not saying don't be friends, but do our values still align? You can't find me in places where they're saying, that deal. I was looking at something. Okay, so it was a movie I was watching yesterday. I think They Haunted or so, some cops on Netflix. Cops, corrupt cops. I'm like, wow, this thing, it's deep. The kind of people that you move with determines a lot of things. If you are not doing that thing, and people you are moving with are doing it, they will carry you, all of you, together. And if the future is still far away, you've got to be intentional. Now, I have had the opportunity to do stuff for people that I have never met. But they will say, we heard about you. Somebody said this about you. We came on social media and we saw what you have done. There's literally no bank in Nigeria that I haven't done something for. I do not know anybody there. But yeah, sometimes maybe people have mentioned me and a whole lot. The people and the person. 2 weeks ago, the U.S. mission in Nigeria, the U.S. consulate, recognized me. I'm like, in my lifetime, really? It may not look like a biggie, but it's a biggie. It's gone on my resume already. Yeah, all of these things go on my resume. Yeah, because I am building for the future, and I need the right kind of people around me per time. Sometimes, yeah, people don't show their true color, but hey, you attract the kind of person you are, first of all. So have the right girls and guys around you. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Now, let me move on to the next G, which is the 5th G, right? I call it Allow for grills and frills. Do you know what that means? Have fun. You only live once. Now, all of the things that I've said are serious things. But let's not be too serious and enjoy the youth of our lives. Do you understand? I don't know how to explain it. This time is passing. They say that the days seem so slow, but the years they fly so soon. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm like, me saying that I left school 22 years, I remember vividly the things I was doing. But you know what? Life is progressive. I say, I'm reading, they have said we should face our career. Let's go out, let's hang out. No, I don't have time. Mr. Adeshake, I said, game plan. That's what I want to do. No. Hang out. Meet with people. Go for networking sessions. Go to places that are not things that you're naturally comfortable with. Hey, take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying you should go to places your pastor will not be proud of. But some of us, we are so uptight. There's a networking, women wala too much, I don't want to go. How? Maybe the next person that would connect you to the next person that is relevant to your destiny is there. But I hear a lot of women they say, thank you. Go where you can be toasted. Some people, the only places they go is where their mommies and daddies are going. In the midst of elderly people, how can you be toastable there? Yeah. And some people, sir, the only place they come is church. They don't come to church. Come to church. It's only church now. I'm an usher in church now. It's good. Please come to church more, but also go to places. LinkedIn programs. Some programs these days are free. And even webinars. I have heard of a testimony where somebody met a life partner on a webinar because of one chat. Yes. So, I'm a very private person. Who private help? I usually don't. Yeah, profile is on private. Instagram page is on private. Ow! So allow for some grills and frills. Have fun. Dress up. Make up. Go out. Talk to people. I used to be very shy. Like, whole day, when I was in my first church, I was in the choir. The first day they gave me a microphone like this, I forgot my lyrics. See the heads. But look at me today. I've spoken at different places. I've been to different countries. I'm forgetting them. I'm not being conservative, but I've done quite a lot. And I give glory to God. Number 6G, give. Be a giver. Give your time. Give your energy. Give your money. Be somebody that people can approach. I was 42 years ago. Yeah, I'll be 42 in 2 weeks. And I run an inner circle of women that I mentor, apart from the investment club and the many things. On the day of my 40th birthday, I didn't know my husband knew. I know people will always do surprises, but that one, it was the biggest surprise of my life. My inner circle members brought 40 gifts in 40 boxes. We literally could not find a place to work. iPhone, the latest iPhone, a check of $1,000 that they had deposited in my account. I thought it was to do something for someone. Clothes. Now, when I say 40 gifts, I'm not saying 40 gifts like 40 categories of gifts. I'm telling you, it was humbling. Food. I'm still using some of those things. Air, shoes, books, wristwatches, so many things. Because you know what? I give. I go out of my way. When it is convenient, when it is not convenient, I set boundaries. Don't get me wrong. Some people will say, people don't know how to. I set boundaries. But I lead by example. If you want to stand out, be a giver. 4:30, everybody has packed their bag. They are going. You two, you are packing. How can you stand out? When you know that your boss is struggling with something, when you know that your supervisor is struggling with something, you say, you should take Paris. How can I help? Can I lend a hand? See somebody struggling. You're like, what's my business? We came separately. We go separately. You can't stand out. Give. Give. There is he that giveth and increaseth, right? And there is he that withholds more than is meet, and it tends to what? Poverty. It's not only money. These days you can give so many things. Please be a giver, right? And the final one, who can guess? Thank you. God will make you stand out. The God factor. Remember what we have been talking about? Your career, your job, your work, your calling, and the 7 things that would make you stand out. Do I need to talk about how the God factor can make the biggest difference in your life? I'll tell you a few examples. 16,000 people put together a pitch to the U.S. consulate, and I was one of the final 9. Yeah, that's God. Because you know what? I never knew how to pitch or put together any proposal until last year. The first I did was last year at 41. You know, some of those things, it's not my thing, no. I don't know how to do it. But I did it. In the space of 6 months, I have been chosen. Actually, I won a grant, and then I got to the final 9 of this one. And that final 9, you know the doors it is opening already for me. One day, I will share. You need God. Our generation glamorizes hard work, smart work. I love those things. But without God, we are nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope with these few words of mine, I have been able to convince you that you can have a beautiful career. You can serve God with your calling. You can serve your generation. You can pick jobs from time to time because you have a game plan. There might be glitches on the way. It doesn't matter. Your eyes on your goals. You have the right girls and guys in your corner. Are we together? You are a giver. You allow for grills and frills. And you have God in your corner. Thank you for having me.
Wow. 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 How many of us are inspired already? I mean, the best part for me is the hanging out part anyway. I mean, story off the top of my head. I got my first job by hanging out with a friend. And then he told me about an opening with that person. And then that's how I got my gig. The person is going to be the keynote speaker for tomorrow, Paul 4. And it's been amazing just from hanging out. So it makes a lot of sense to me personally because I know how much I've gained from that. All right. How many of us are ready to take in more? You know, they call this, how many of us have ever sat at a buffet where there was an appetizer, the main course, and then a dessert? So this is like an appetizer, just warming us up. There are more sessions. Without further much ado, I'm very excited that our second guest is around. Is the brain, let me just do a short introduction, is the brain behind Street Church. How many of us know they say words on the street have it that is called Street Church Daddy Gio. Am I right, sir? Yeah. So before I bring it up, the next session is a fireside chat. And the fireside chat simply is a chat between two people. The focus for this session is deep work. So what Mrs. Shola did initially was to introduce us to the concept of career, work, job. I'm sure we got all those definitions. The next session is how do you do deep work? How many of us remember that she mentioned that work is what you do on your job? Did we get that? Now, this session is going to show us how do we do work the right way. We wonder how Elon Musk is about to do all those things. There's a secret. It's called deep work. There's a way you can zone into work and you are bringing out things from depths where a lot of people don't get to because you are grounded in what you're doing. How many of us are excited about this session? Let's make some noise if we're excited. Thank you. All right. The moderator for this session is a very lovely gentleman. One of the biggest talents in product management, and and his name is Ademola. Ademola, please come and join me on the stage, sir. Please have your seat. Excellent. Now, the next person is our second guest. He's also a special guest. If you're excited, please stand up. Let's give him an ovation. Let's. Let's welcome Toby Icon Oreolua to the stage. Thank you. Please have your seats. Before they begin, I'm sure that the media team is going to play his profile. And as soon as we are done listening to his profile, Mr. Ademola will take charge. So let's have his profile, sir.
First,
is a creative entrepreneur and culture curator. Our panelist, Toby Icon Oreolua. Toby Oreolua is a creative entrepreneur, transmedia storyteller, founder, and culture curator at Street Church, a movement that's aimed at using digital media, creativity, and culture to spread the gospel with a mission to reach the unchurched. The Street Church platform started in February 2021 and has gone on to build a community of over 300,000 people across social media platforms. He's also the lead creative at a thriving furniture and interior design company, Alaga Collections, Hairliners NG, a beauty and hair care brand. He leads a group of fashion enthusiasts at Tasolo NG, a fashion line that focuses on high street fashion and lifestyle, and hashtag a creative agency. Toby has been nominated for several awards, including the Future Africa Awards, and has been featured on different platforms, including Vogue Magazine, Culture, The Gift Measure. 10 years Make welcome to the King's Business and Career Expo 2.0, Toby Icon Oreolua.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So excited to be here. If you're excited, please a round of applause for our amazing... That's not loud enough. Okay, thank you. Toby, it's very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
We've heard so much about you.
Thank you.
And like they said, you're the street church that did you hold. So
That's the word on the street.
okay, so before we start, I love starting the sessions in a very interesting way. First, let's say, could you describe yourself in 5 words, just before we start?
Well, I would say I'm creative.
Obviously.
Yes. I'm quite cultural. I'm Afrocentric in nature. I think about things. I don't think, what's it called? I think Africa-wide. That's how my thinking is. I am very innovative as well. And I'm a simple person.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, this session, right, we're really focused on how do you describe what deep work is? You know, how do we ensure that people just don't stay on the surface, right, to do whatever they have been called to do? because a number of times, if you're just superficial, you realize that there's only a handful of things you could do, and the level of success you attain, right, will be quite limiting. So far, so good for most people, right? Some people are outliers, anyways. So before we go into all of that, we also want to just get to know a bit about what your journey has been like, before we delve into your work as Street Church and the fast furniture company you also run. So how was growing up like for you? I think that it's very important because we have a number of young people, right, that are facing a number of things, and I think it's important to us understand this story. So how was growing up like for you, the good and not so good?
Well, I think I grew up in a very, very, what's it called, street setting. I grew up in Ojota, just not so far from here, and a bit of Ikorodu as well. So you can see that the blend is very blending. But growing up in that kind of place and being what I am now, it was an intentional journey for my parents first, then for me. They ensured that even though we were close to the street, I was not on the street. So I could pick things from the street. I'm very street smart, trust me. If you carry me enter anywhere like this, I know what to do. But if you put me somewhere else too, I would do well because they were able to ensure that you were close to the street, but you are not on the street. So I think that really helped me. And my parents were very, very creative, business savvy. They were very business savvy, and especially my mom. My mom is very, very business oriented, and I remember myself from like the age of 10, I was already running things for her. So she actually threw me into what's it called, the oil of business from very early on in my life. I remember as I was around 9 years old first when I first saw about ₦1 million, and Nigeria was hard that time, and Abacha was still, I think, it was still the head of state, and they wanted to take money to the bank, so they had to stack the money in my school bag, and they put me like they were taking me to school. Me too. That was the only time. So you would know that my parents were very intentional. That was the only time in my life, all through my primary school, that I was late for school. Just once. That was the only time that I was late for school. I was lucky enough. I attended Maryland Convent Private School here. So, and they took me to the bank, and I had to sit down, watch them count money, count. So they had exposed me to possibilities of what could be from when I was a very young age. And I went to a boarding school to do business to survive. I had to exchange Milo for this and that for that. You understand? So I think my nature as a person normally, I'm a very shy person. I'm kind of reserved. I can sit in one place and not talk and just be looking at everybody. I can observe. That's like a strong skill for me. And maybe while we are talking and conversing, I would say why observation is actually a very, very paramount thing for every creative, for everybody that wants to do deep work and wants to lead in business. You don't just jump at everything. There's a part where you actually need to sit down, take note, observe, and do things. You cannot just do things because they are good on the surface. You have to go deep. You have to see deep. And I think it's one thing I'm very good at, actually sitting down and looking at. I can wait for 10 years to achieve something. I don't mind, actually. I can wait that long to achieve something.
That deserves a round of applause.
Yeah. I don't mind, and it works for me. It works for me very well. So yeah, I think that's a little about my childhood. And I studied architecture in school, but while I was in like 200 level, I just knew that, Baba, if you do this thing, like I had to be real with myself. Like 200, not like I didn't like architecture, but I had a very I don't know, my spirit was not in one place. I wanted to work for one man at some point, and he said, "Guy, I can't employ you. I was like, but I'm doing your work. He said, no, I would rather give you this job. Just go and do it. And because I cannot hold you in one place. So that's the kind of person I am. And architecture, it's kind of needs you to actually sit down for long, think and stuff like that. But it was a very good base for me in my creative journey, or it's a very good base for me rather, in my creative journey so far. So yeah, I think that's a little about me growing up and getting to where I am today.
Hey, thank you. That's quite interesting and insightful. The follow-up to that is, I mean, you're doing these amazing things now, right? How did you decide? Ms. Shola earlier spoke about careers and jobs, right? She said that a job is something you do for money, while a career is more of long-term, right? How did you decide that, you know what, these are the things I want to do? These are how I want to pursue the several expressions I have. You know, some people here are multi-potentialites where they have so many things, so many skills, right? How did you now say, you know what, this is the path I'm going. I'm not going architectural route anymore. I want to do this, I want to do this. What gave you that conviction?
Well, I think it's not a direct answer thing. I'll just go around it like that. For me, I have always kind of had this innate thing in me that always wants to solve problems for people. I always want to solve problems. While I was in uni, I remember that a lot of people always came to me for business ideas. Like, I would have an answer for you. I would have a solution for you. So I always had that. And I think that was bettered from the fact that I actually grew up close to the streets, not on the streets. And I always saw problems and what are the next things to do to solve this thing. So that has always been in me. So now, going into business myself, I like I said, I already knew from like 200 level I was not going to do architecture. So I started building on different parts of myself that I really liked. I've done everything in this life, my brother. I've done everything. Trust me. I've been a writer. I've been a photographer. I've been a cinematographer. I've worked with musicians. I've done several things. I just go ahead and try everything that I can. So that's one thing I would say to multi-potentialites. You will fail at plenty things. Trust me, you would suck at a lot of things, but that's the way you actually build your strength. That's how you actually build that what's it called, the skill in you. While I was trying a lot of all these things, there were times I felt like, man, I don't know if I have any talent in this life. Like, I don't know. A lot of people were even confused that what's wrong with this guy? Today you are writing, tomorrow you are doing this. But I was not bad at these things per se. But I just always felt like there's still something I need to do. There's still another thing I need to do. But now where I'm sitting down right now, I actually kind of make sense of that journey. I make sense of that journey. It makes a lot of sense to me. And at least this has been something that has been going on in my head from since 2008 up until this point. But it makes sense because now I sit on panels like this and I can talk because I have done. There was a time that in uni, I was in the fellowship. I was a publicity secretary. I told you I'm a shy person, so I always like to be behind the scenes and all of that. But there's one thing I would not do, which is that I would not box myself and say I can't do this. I would try as much as possible. If when you tell me that I can't do something, that they are looking for my trouble because I will do it. I will do that thing. So at some point, we had a session where I was to bring someone to speak in school, like a very big fair for my fellowship then. It was the first of its kind. And I don't know, the person did not show up. Everybody was seated, like and funny thing is that my church, we didn't used to do that kind of thing then. I had to bring lights in from Lagos, bring different things. Then the speaker does not show up. And it was like 30 minutes to when the speaker was supposed to climb up. Everything was still going normal. Then it got to 30 minutes when the person was not around yet. And my pastor was like, Baba, how far? What's happening? I was like, don't worry, sir. We'll handle it. I just called like 2 people out that, what's this? What can we do? Said, somebody has to go up in this place. And I took the place. That was the first time I would actually go and do that kind of thing. And I did it. And from there, I started saying, people came and like, did you plan this thing before? Like that, I didn't actually. It was just the spur of the moment, and I just thought that I could do this. But what I realized on that stage that day was that I was actually preparing for that particular place without me knowing. Because I had done some things, I've done this, I've put my hands in this, I've written, I was saying some things that day, and I was like, where did you learn this thing from? But it was in my process of writing that I actually got that information that I was able to port to people. So as a multi-potentialite, things like that will happen that you need to put yourself into, just jump at it. Try it. Once your mind is always going to something, just do it. So I hope that has been able to put
it has.
Yeah.
Just like Steve Jobs said, right? You can only connect your dots looking backwards.
Yeah.
So I think that my big takeaway from what you said is when you have an interest, right? Try to move closer to that direction of that interest, and take a chance at that interest. You never can tell what could come out of it. Please, a round of applause for him once again. Okay, so we're going closer to deep work related questions. But I'll ask you, everyone here, you run street church. What exactly is street church for those that have not heard of it, or for those that, know it, have seen the Instagram images, and I think you had an event sometime last year and all of that. What is street church? From the horse's mouth.
It's the words according to the street, though. So it's the gospel in according to the streets. The same way we have KJV, King James version of the Bible. We have different versions of the Bible. How do we put the Word of God in a cultural context that we can understand? So that is what street church is essentially, is spreading the Word of God through a cultural context, through our eyes. So should I continue talking? Yeah, all right. So this came up from, the idea was actually bettered from myself. It was a personal thing. I think Ms. Shola was talking about that people that they become something that even if it happens by happenstance, like the thing just happens, that there's something behind that they had done before they got to that place. It didn't just blow up like that. That there's something behind it. So the street church is an example of that. I did it for my personal devotion. I got to a point in my life where I just thought about it that, I don't understand what in this Bible they talk again. What's the eye of the needle? That thing is, people just take it as it is, like literal, like that, like the rich man. How do you even think of that? Somebody will enter through the eye of the needle. But there's a deeper context to it. Let's not go into the theology of that. But another one is if you have faith like a mustard seed. And I'm like, in my life, I've never seen a mustard seed before. I don't know what it looks like. A lot of people don't know what it looks like. We just say if you have faith like a mustard seed. But if you tell me if you have faith like agbalumo seed, I understand what I have seen. Somebody might have even taken agbalumo before coming here today. So that context is I actually didn't find it. I didn't see it. And I like I said earlier, I'm very Afrocentric in nature. I think Africa-wide. I actually am I'm sent to Africa. That's my job in this life. So so I started thinking that what if it's just PR that got Jesus to where he is today? That if Shango had the good PR as well, could it be that that's how I'm just being honest. That's how, if Shango had a good PR, that maybe he would have been the savior of the world. We would have said Shango was the one that came to save the world if we had good PR. And I just started thinking about it that, can you hear me? I don't understand them again. So, but I was born, I was trained, my parents are pastors, I grew up in the church. So there's that part that did not want to leave me, let me enter the world, finish. It was just dragging me back like that. So, but truly, that period in my life, there were a lot of conflicting ideas in my head. So I decided to say, okay, let me now, in my own way, or the way let me start searching the Bible and actually putting it in, let me see if I can actually make sense of these things. And when you have a determined mind to do something, God will actually back you up. So that was what happened to me. And I had a determined mind I was going to do it. And I just started it for personal devotional, where I just pick this Bible verse, try and relate it to the streets, let me see how it goes and all of that. And it was working for me. I started making sense of a lot of things. Then at a particular point, I just decided to start putting it up on my Instagram. That's my own personal Instagram stories. So I know we'll still talk about building communities, and this would lead to that later. That's a later conversation. And before I knew it, a lot of people started. This was far back as 2018, or not last year. It was 2018. And people will come to my page, just screenshot it. Anytime I stop, they will be like, "Please continue this thing." I'm like, "What concern me are you? I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for myself." But eventually, I noticed that a lot of people also were needing. They needed that as well, and I kept doing it the way I could up until last year. Last year, there was an eureka moment, or there was a spirit moment that God just said, "Blow this thing up, like take it to a different level." And I did that. I just opened the page, did this, did that, and before we knew it, it was everywhere. There are some things behind that scene that made it go up like that. We'll talk about that in the community thing. But what I'm trying to say is that street church is an expression of creativity and cultural nuance to the gospel of Christ. That is what it is about. How we can actually spread the gospel of Jesus Christ in the simplest ways to in our cultural context, to the people that we see every day, that they just take things, anything that you tell them, they agree that that's what it is, and they take it like that. But how do we make them actually understand the nitty-gritty of what the Word of God is? It's by bringing it closer to them, and that's what Street Church is doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. So aside Street Church, I know you run I think an interior design or a furniture company. Yeah, could you just briefly talk about that as well? Because that will help me with the next question I'm about to ask.
Okay, I actually do several businesses.
Okay.
Furniture, I have a furniture company. It's called Alaga. Yes, Alaga means chairperson, chairman, like that. So literally, that's what it means. And I have an air saloon or airline thing. It's called Airliners, actually. And several other stuff like that. Let me not start. But talking about Alaga also started off with this whole Afro thing that is, that how do we actually tell stories with furniture? How do we do things with furniture? How do we rethink African folklore, African stories, African concepts with furniture? And that was how I started it in 2016. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and we've been able to tell some stories that have gotten us to the likes of Vogue magazine, Cultured magazine, several international magazines like that, because they could pick the the context of what we are saying, what we are trying to do with the furniture in itself. For me, I'm big on actually solving problems for Africa and Africans, and one of the things that we are doing with Alaga at the moment now is to actually make it into a retail furniture company where you can actually just move in, access furniture easily, and take it out. So that's what we do, and it started off from me actually saying, I'm not doing architecture again, and I want to do something else, but I cannot waste this certificate. So I decided to do that, like that. So and it's been good so far.
Okay, great. So you run several businesses, like you said. You mentioned two of them. So coming to the theme of this session, how exactly do you do deep work? And what are your biggest challenges in doing deep work? Being that you do so many things. So how do you allocate the best time and resources to ensure that the output of Alaga, the output of Street Church, and Airliners, and whatever businesses you run, the output is still world class, and it's still a certain pedestal that you cannot fall below. So how do you do deep work?
Okay. For me, it starts from a personal level. how do you do deep work? How do you yourself, how do you work? What's your work ethic like? I'll just make some examples so it's more relatable. When I started Alaga in 2016-17, what I did was that I was always the one going around. That time, there was nothing. So the very first furniture piece that we did, I actually took down my wardrobe in the house then and converted it into furniture. A lot of people won't believe, but I still have the furniture till now. I just took it down and I just called a carpenter and I said, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it became that. But after that period, I noticed that a lot of people loved the creativity behind it and wanted stuff. So I got myself involved. I knew if you go to Mushi now and you ask them, or our market don't burn anyway, but before that, if you go to Mushi and you ask about me, they know me there because I would be there from morning till night, that period. About 2 years, I would go to Mushi, we'll sit down with them. I know the places you can get the best food, where you can get the best this, where you can get the best that. So I put myself very deep into the work in itself. So I knew a lot of, what's it called? It was not just theoretical things I knew. I knew how things actually worked in these spaces. So by the time I became a little bit bigger, I had a team. It was easy for me to actually imbibe that culture in the team and tell them that this is how we work, this is what to do, this is where to go, and all of that. A lot of business people actually just take business on the surface level, which is that I just want to do this thing, and I need an accountant to work with me. I need a this thing to work with me. I need a that one to work with me, like that. When I started business, and I would actually also implore people to do that a lot. When I started, I was the one that was doing my forecast myself. Like I ate numbers. Trust me, you cannot. There's nobody in this room that can eat numbers up to. But I really don't like numbers. But because it was very essential, it's my business, and at the end of the day, everything still falls down to me. So if somebody else is the one actually running this thing for me, without me having context to what is being done, it's very easy for me to lose track of what the business is about, what the profit is, what the loss is, and things like that. But that period, I went to sit down in somebody's house for like 1 day, and I was doing that thing. The thing was just confusing. I was just looking at Excel like this. It looked like it looked like another thing. But I ensured that I understood it. I understood what the person was. I did it for a while. I was the one doing it. Now I have people that do that for me, and I just need to look at it, and I can tell you maybe you are doing rubbish or you are actually doing the real thing, because I was able to immerse myself in it. A lot of people come to me and consult for business, and the first thing they say is that I have this idea. I want to set up a team, and I want them to do this. Teams are not bad, trust me, but there are some businesses that you need to actually get involved in everything first. Like know the end to end of how your business works. How does this work? How does that work? How does this work? Some of us, up until the 5th year of your business, you just need maybe one person to work with you on it, and you are good, and you'll be making your money. But because we see people who have teams and it's cool on Instagram and stuff, then we also say, okay, you come and join me. You come and join. You don't even know how your business is going to profit. You don't even know what your revenue is going to be or what it is in a year. You've not even done a forecast before. But you want to come, join me, and at the end of the day, you are not able to pay them. You are the once brilliant idea you have is now becoming something frustrating. It frustrates you. So I try as much as possible to understand the nitty-gritty of things first. Then after that, we can now start saying that, okay, you join me on the team. I think I need you now. I'm not so good at this place, but if you join me on this, it's going to make a lot of sense. You can actually do accounting better. Please join me on this and things like that. But do the work yourself first. Do it first yourself then before you bring other people in.
Okay, that's the round of applause. Okay, you're a very creative person and very inspiring. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, I know you want me to say God, and I'll say God. Yes, there's the God part. but yeah, there's a spirit in man, the inspiration of the Almighty gives understanding. But yes, your spirit is going to feed on things too. You have to have experiences, and that's one thing I do. I told you earlier that I observe a lot, and observation is actually the what's it called? Is the bedrock of creativity. For you to be able to observe things and be able to pick out new things from them is how you actually stay very creative. So I observe, I look a lot, and in my head, there are a lot of images in my head. Like, I take myself through experiences, through things that actually help me. So you catch me reading. I don't read much anymore anyway. Very, very short things now. Maybe 5 minutes read, 10 minutes read. But before, I used to read. Oh. And I'm not talking about reading just inspirational books now. I'm talking fictional books. I'm talking different things. That's how you broaden your mind. That's how you actually broaden your creativity. Watch movies, very good movies, and let it actually inspire your imagination. That's how I do it anyway. And I talk. Conversations actually are very, very powerful. Actually getting to have conversations with people that are in different fields. One of the what's it called? One of the keys of the future is going to be cross-industry collaborations. Crossing those, like, and the people that are going to be leading in that pace are people that actually have understanding of how different things work. Let me call it what we call it, jack of all trades. They are the guys that would actually be leading, that will be sought after, that you can be able to know something about everything. Trust me, as I'm sitting down here, I know something about many things. Maybe not everything, but I know something about many things, and that's what matters. That's the kind of people that we are looking for in the future. I'm talking about the next decade, this decade that is coming. That those are the kind of people. So for you to stay creative, for me to stay creative, I open myself to a lot of new things, new experiences, new people, new conversations, and all of that. And it helps me stay creative.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, from his advice, try to be a jack of all trades, right?
Well, there are some people that they can, how do I call it? They are, what's it called? I'm directing that to people that actually feel like their spirit is never settled in one place like that. You are always feeling like you should do something else. There are people that really trust me that they should just focus on something. Maybe focus on data science or focus on accounting. Of course, learn other things as well, but focus on the stuff. But there are some people, trust me, they can. If you want them to focus, it's like you're putting them in prison. If you, for example, me myself now, if you tell me to sit down in one place and just be there, 9 to 5, I'll start growing gray down on the shore. So that we are. God has made us different, so that all of us can come together and actually make sense of it and make a good world that we can live in. So don't take my word as how do I call it, like as the law, or whatever it is, but try as much as possible to put it into your personal context and see how it works for you.
Okay, great. I mean, like she said in an earlier session, self-awareness is important, right? So be self-aware first. Then if you think you can be a jack of all trades, then now become a jack of all trades. What's your biggest challenge as regards doing deep work? What do you think? What are the things that are bottlenecks that you face? Biggest challenges?
Well, I think for me, the biggest challenges now at the moment would be Nigeria. Yes. Yeah, I think that would be a very, very big challenge for everyone as well, because there are so many Nigerian factors that affect productivity. I tweeted something, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, that imagine that we have 24/7, 24/7 light, power, electricity. Imagine the kind of how productive Nigeria will be and Nigerians will be. So it's quite something that Nigeria. It's an external factor that we can't control anyway. We are praying that it becomes something that we could control, and that's why you will notice that a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians especially, when they leave the country, they become more how do I call it, productive. They do better with what they do, because now, for example, I want to do work, and generator noise is actually one thing that can it can actually send me crazy. So, and you're trying to actually think of something good, and it just keeps affecting your thought process. That's something. So I'll just keep it at Nigeria for now. That let's just keep praying for Nigeria and praying for 2023, that God gives us a good leader that can actually steer this country into a better path than where we are at the moment.
God help Nigeria. Like comparison, right? Do you remember anything you have done or something you wish everyone was doing as regards to deep work?
What I've done, I think one thing that I would say is that I think Ms. Shola mentioned that the other time is collaboration. Collaboration can actually make iron sharpen iron. That's it. So collaboration can actually help you to focus on your strength and go deeper. Do you understand? It can help you to focus on your strength and go deeper. So I think that for me to have, I would have done more if I started collaborating earlier. I actually started working with people earlier. This is not to negate the point I made earlier that you do stuff, but I'm saying that collaborating with other people, cross-industry collaborations, that's what I'm really big on that at the moment. That a lot of people would actually sell more when they start looking at other people in other industries that need what they have, the skills they have and things like that. I think if I had done that earlier, I could have actually helped to actually go deeper, because people, when you work with some people, they expose you to deeper understanding or deeper realms of your work. So I think collaboration is actually collaboration is actually a very, very big thing that I think most of us should actually look at. Yeah. I think that's all for now.
Okay, thank you. What's one misconception people have, right, about deep work? The common misconception you think people have about deep work?
I think a lot of people think is until you carry hammer and nail and start knocking, like you start eating something and doing something that takes all your power, and that by the time you get home at night, you can't sleep well. You have to use paracetamol first before you sleep. But that's not it. It's actually the intensity of the thoughts behind your work, the intentionality of your work, how deep you have actually thought about what you are doing and the impact it's going to get. There's nobody that is going to build a house that will not count the cost. There's nobody that is going to dig a foundation that is going to do it on a surface level. You have to actually look at, calculate, and do it. It will always show in your work when you think about it deeply, when you actually put a lot of thought in it. Like I said earlier, I don't mind doing something, like actually taking 10 years to think about something before I achieve it. Because I need to get all the metrics right. I need to get all the details of it right. To get to my goal, I need to get all the details of it right. So I think a lot of people think that deep work in itself is actually hard work, like you actually putting in all your energy into it and making it work. But it's actually the thoughts behind it, how you actually think through your business, how you actually think through what you are doing before you actually bring it out into the world. You cannot do something shabbily and put it into the world on the surface level. You want to paint, for example, you just do something. You don't know the rudiments of painting, what kind of colors you should use, what kind of pastel. I'm not a painter, but what kind of pastel, what kind of brushes you should use for stuff. Eventually, you have the skill. You are someone that can draw or something, but at the end of the day, you will notice that some other people's drawings just attract more than yours because you don't know the rudiment of art. You don't know the rudiment of how to do these things. So I think that a lot of people should know that it's not about you just producing alone, but what are you producing? How good is it for the market you are taking it into? I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. So you've mentioned a lot of people feel that deep work is just hard work, and you emphasize that the thought behind it is what really matters. So how do you think people can combat these misconceptions?
Okay, I think it's the answer is in the question. I think people should do deep work by actually going all the way, doing a lot of research. You would notice that in the Western countries, for example, they take a lot. They can do research for 30 years before they will tell you that we've been doing this survey for about 30 years before it came into light. We are trying to understand the human brain. So we took the survey over 10,000 people before it comes. We need to be able to get to a level as a continent, as a people, as business people, where everything is not fast, quick. Everything is not like instant. That we actually intentionally take time to actually study and understand. That's why a lot of businesses fail, because we don't take time to study, understand the industry we are in, understand the people we are dealing with, understand our target audience, understand things. So I think, for me, from my point of view, from where I'm sitting right now, I think we should actually look at deep work from the point of actually taking our time to identify, understand where we are working out from before we actually go out. The Chinese bamboo, like they say, it takes how many years for it to go down, deep down into the ground before it starts sprouting. That period it goes down into the ground is actually firming up its foundation. So by the time it goes that long, it's not just going to break off. It's not going to fall off immediately. And it's one of the tallest, plants in the world. That's the Chinese bamboo tree. But it has a very deep base, and that deep base takes time before it goes up. So deep work should be like that. Think about deep work like that Chinese bamboo tree. Not just hard work alone, but actually how you actually intentionally put things in place that actually helps the product that you bring out eventually.
Thank you. Please, another round of applause for her. Okay. Is there anything else you think you would love to share as regards deep work that you think you might not have mentioned earlier?
Okay. I think I would just say that there's no overnight success. There's overnight breakthrough, but no overnight success. People actually...
Sorry, can you say that again?
There's no overnight success. There's overnight breakthrough, but no overnight... We cannot just... you just blew overnight, or you just saw $1 million on the ground, and you just blew... It's very rare that happens. There's overnight breakthrough. So you have to actually understand work. That work and understanding what you're doing over a period of time is what would give you a breakthrough. Is what is in your hands, what you have mastered, that God will bless. Do you understand? Is what you have mastered, what is in your hands that God will bless, not what you are imagining, what you are thinking in your head. I have this idea, but I don't put the idea down. I don't actually think. One thing I have noticed in my work is that a lot of people have great ideas, they have grand ideas, but they don't want to put in the work to actually actualize it. It's not just for you to build an app that will make you the next, whatever it is. It's actually you understanding that this app, what are the things, where is it going to, what do I want to do with it, who are the people it is reaching, what else can it do? Because there are a lot of fintechs now. Okay, me too, I want to be a fintech. What exactly is the motive behind what you want to do? I think we should think about all these things while we are doing work, while we are trying to do deep work and whatever it is. We should think about how our thoughts and our ideas, how they can become grand things in the long run. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So just before we wrap up, I have some quick fire questions. So the first is, what are you most hopeful for?
That Africans actually take the future as it is. I believe Africa is the future. I actually strongly believe that. And you notice it even from the way that the world is warming up to Afrobeats, warming up to African tech. Africa is the future. And I believe that Africans actually understand this, and in the nearest future, all of us collaborate. There's a lot of collaborations in the African space. So we can build a big table that we all can eat from. So yeah.
Okay, great. What's the best and worst advice you've received?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Best advice.
The best advice was actually from my mom, and it was from the scriptures actually. On my 18th birthday, my mom called me and she sat me down and she read that Bible verse, Habakkuk 2 verse 3. to me, and I think it's one of the things that has been my guiding principle all my life, that write it down, make it plain, for the vision is for an appointed time. So everything I do, trust me, as I am sitting down here, in my notepad on this my phone, I have businesses that I might never do in my life that I have written down in my notepad. And opportunities arise. Somebody will say they need something in that what's it called thing, and I'm able to sell it to them. Do you understand? So that's one advice that I actually took it personal. After my mom told me that, I don't know why she did that on my 18th birthday, but it has been guiding me. I write things down a lot, my ideas, my thoughts, and all of that. So I think that's one of the best advices I have ever gotten in my life. Yeah.
Okay. What are you most grateful for?
My intellect. I have sense.
Okay. More round of applause for him, please. Okay. Second to the last. I'm happiest when
I'm alone.
Something that inspires me is
Elon Musk. Something or somebody.
something and someone.
Someone. I think Elon Musk, he inspires me in the sense that the way he thinks in a very, very different way. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but I respect it. So, and I think I admire it too. So, yeah.
Okay. Any more parting words?
Nothing. Let me say something, Sha. I think I'll just direct this to people that the thing that you're looking for, that great thing that you're looking is on the other side of what you fear. A lot of people allow fear actually hold them down. So I want you to take this back, and it's that. Don't let your fear of looking stupid actually keep you from being the best version of yourself. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Just some quick pictures, and then we will continue. But how many of us are creatives in the house? Well, take the pictures. Guys, look at me. How many of us are creatives in the house? One. Who else is a creative in the house? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was this session really helpful for you? I mean, for me, I've always wondered, how did they get number one, how did they even get the concept of the whole street church thingy? And did somebody say supernatural? Yeah, and I've always wondered the consistency. I mean, it's one of the few things, I don't even know it stands. It's one of the few things you can be guaranteed to see on Twitter every day, right? Excellent. All right. Before the next session, we want to play a quick game. All right, just something to reinforce the things we've learned across the 2 sessions, and to help us remember a couple of key things that our speakers have shared. How many of us are ready? All right. Our beautiful team at the back, we are ready for the games. But before that, I want to give an opportunity to us to Toby, can you take 2 questions from the house? All right, who has a question? Questions? Okay.
I think it's very important for you to seize this moment. Toby is a very busy guy, as you can tell. So if you have a question, ask. 2 questions. I'm asking 1 for myself. So 1 more question to go. All right, no, but I think after me we can still take 2 questions. So you spoke about collaboration and you said some very salient things. In fact, when you spoke, I discovered that we have quite a number of things in common, right? So most people think I'm an extreme extrovert, but there's a part of me that is very introverted. Like when you're speaking about being happy alone, right? But I wanted to talk about collaboration. And I've said it to my team before that if there was something I wish I had done earlier is building systems and structures around my creativity and then collaborating massively. So can you speak about those 2 elements? Most creative people are not very maybe they don't realize the importance of collaborating and building systems and structures. So generally, let me stand so you can see me. So generally, if you're creative, I think one of the traps is that your creativity satisfies you, right? You're happy creating. So you don't take things like metrics and scaling and business systems and processes important. You're happy. So it's a form of payment. You already feel paid just to sketch that thing or paint that thing or draw that thing or write that song or record it, or you feel fulfilled, right? But as you grow and you have dependence and you have bigger vision, you're going to realize I need resources. I need a structure and a system. So speak to those 2 things. How did you build a system around your creative expressions? Because you have many businesses. And number 2, what are the areas in which we can collaborate? And by extension, any other person who's remotely interested in collaborating.
All right, thank you, Pastor Dami. The first question, how do you build systems that can help collaboration? Yeah, that can help what? Okay, yes. I think, yes, the answer is collaboration. One of the answers actually is collaboration. A lot of us actually do what is said, which is that we we are just satisfied doing things. Like at some point in my life too, I was just okay, just seeing what I did, that I was the one that did this thing, and people can enjoy, interact with it and stuff. I'm happy. You don't even need to pay me for it. I'm good. But when some kind of billing touch you like this, you would know that. And because we are, the thing is, sometimes is innate. We've built ourselves to the point where if you are not doing that, you feel like you are being in a corner, you are being put in a corner or stuff like that. So I think one of the things that I have learned is to actually collaborate. I actually identify quickly in anything I want to do, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the things I am pretty good at. Like I told you earlier, I'm not good with numbers. I do not like it. I don't want to interact with it. I'm also a very big picture person. I can tell you that I see this like this. So what you have to now intentionally look out for people that can actually fill in the gaps where you are not good at. There are even some places that you are good at, but because you will not be able to have the capacity at that point to do it, you have to look for people that would help you to ensure that is. You know, I was saying something about business owners that time. I want us to always put things in context and not mix it up. I said that business owners, that you should try as much as possible to do things yourself first at the beginning of your work. That's a different conversation from this. So please let's mix it up together. So I would make an example. Last year we had one of the biggest concerts in 30 December. I don't know if anybody here was there. If you were not there last year, please be there this year. It was yeah, I'm doing advert. Yeah, it was called Love and Light Festival. Street Church was just about 8 months then, and it was big. It was like I had a vision that this is how this thing is going to be. Like, you know, when I tell people that this is it, I can see it, like this is it. Yeah, they'll say it's spirit that put it in you. It's fine as well. But you have seen things. God has actually been preparing you for that point in your life. So I just told my team that this is it. And I knew my strength immediately was that I'm not an activator. I need somebody that will stand on top of these things and ensure that every arm of it comes to pass. And immediately, sis, hello sis, please join me on this thing. And the person joined. Another person that is good with so. Join me on this. This is what we can do together. Of course, because it's street church, everybody was happy to come on board and do it. That's one thing. You also need to build value. You cannot just be saying, I'm very creative, I have ideas, but there's no product, there's no tangible thing that we can see from what you are saying. Sorry, you are just an idea person. You don't have this, and it's fine. So we need to have good value. We need to be able to put value on ground. And at the end of the day, when we came to the end of the event, it actually happened exactly how I saw it. How I actually laid the plan for them. How I actually told them. But if I had decided that I was going to do it alone, I was going to just do it alone, that they've given me, I don't like talking to people, and I'm just going to run this alone. It was going to fail from the beginning. We had people that came on board that were not even Nigerians, that actually had to just help us to do what we had to do. So I think it's very important that we understand that there's a part of you being creative, you having ideas, you having concepts in your head, and there's a part of you knowing how to build and work with people to actually make those things come to light. A lot of creative people have very poor people skills. You need to build your people skills. You need to work with people. You need to talk to people. You need to understand people. I have one other thing that I'm very good at. I can spot talent. I know a good talent. It's God that gave me that eyes. If we talk for a bit, I can tell if you are a good talent. Yeah, of course, there are some times that judgment is clouded, but so far it has worked for me. When I talk to people, I understand exactly where I can put you or where we can work together and how we can be able to do it together. And if I talk to some people, I'm just like, thank you, God bless you. You go the jam, you go be. So we need to build ourselves. It's not because I'm just joking. It's not because God actually just said that you take the talent, be able to see people and be able. But because I've interacted with people, I converse with people, I talk to people, even conversations that not like I'll just start talking to you and just start saying what does the, but meaningful conversations. I want to understand what you do, how you do it, where do you do it, and who do you do it with. I can be able to pick insights from that. So as creatives, it's beyond you just coming up with ideas. There's a whole lot of things that you have to build around yourself that actually would make you a profitable creative. The key word there is profitable. Profitable creative. You need to build systems, people systems, collaborative systems, and how you actually stay creative as well. That's one thing that a lot of us creatives don't do. How to stay creative. I believe that you only have blocks. I believe you only have blocks when you yourself, you are not, how do I call it? I told someone I had a block last week. I know exactly what to do to go out of that space. But I don't want to do it because that's how we are. But immediately I know that I need to trigger what I need to do. So you need to understand how you yourself actually create, your process of creation, how you do it, and when and where is the best time for you to do it. When he asked me that what's the moment I am happiest, and I said when I am alone, because that's the time I get to think. That's the time I get to formulate things. 1 a.m. in the midnight, when there's no noise, there's nobody, there's nothing there. I'm just sitting, just listening to music and coming up with concept and stuff and things. So you need to also understand. Some people is when they're in the middle of the crowd. That's when they actually pick inspiration. When they're in the middle of a lot of people, that's when they pick inspiration. So I hope I've been able to answer Pastor Dami's first question. Concerning the second question, we'll talk. We'll talk. All right.
Wow. Thank you. I'm sure that if we give Toby an opportunity to talk again, Toby will talk for the next 2 hours. I mean, you can see his follow come. He's not trying to fake it. All right, I have a couple of questions here, and I think I have someone in the audience. So let me ask this one first. So I'm sure there's a short answer for this, Toby. What can you say to someone that is creative but doesn't like social media? Is that possible?
I think it's very possible that you are creative but you don't like social media. But I would also tell you that you are playing yourself. I think, yes, you are playing yourself. The way the world is at the moment, is beyond what you like now.
It's beyond it's beyond what you like. If you tell me that if people want to work for me or we want to work together now, I don't check your CV. I go to your Instagram. I want to see the kind of person you are, the way you think. I don't go to your LinkedIn. I don't need your LinkedIn. I don't even need your certificate. I only want to see how you think. How does this person think? That's your CV, and you don't have it. I can't see anything. Your account is locked. Your account is locked. Your tweets are locked. You can't see the way you think. You can't be able to say it. So it actually takes you off opportunities. People would not work with you. There are a lot of. No, I'm not even talking of on a personal level, but on multinationals and stuff now. When you want to work with them, they would go and check your Instagram, check your. So it's not what I like anymore. It's a requirement of living in the 21st century. As a 21st century person, it says even my father has Facebook, he has Instagram, he has everything. So they understand that it's very important to stay in touch, to stay in tune with what is happening. Even Buhari has. So who are you?
Thank you. Makes so much sense. I can also tell you for a fact that, I can tell you for a fact that what he's saying is true. 2 of my last big opportunities came from social media, LinkedIn especially. So whether you're a creative, you're a corporate, you have to understand that social media is your new home. You have to be comfortable with it. You don't have to love it or like it, but you have to be comfortable with it, because opportunities are living there. All right. The second question here would be, I think Toby has answered it. He said, do you ever get confused? Which he said, you usually get your blocks. He said, if you do, what do you do when you get confused? Can you share like one thing you do when you get confused?
Well, yes, it's actually part of the creative process for you to get confused. It's an integral element for you to actually get confused. It's from that chaos, that confusion, that you actually can build something different. Like, that's one thing. So, but when I get to that stage, I leave everything. I leave it. So, say I'm working on something and I don't know. It's just everything is just confusing and things like that. I can leave it. I leave it for a while. Maybe go and sleep or go and watch a movie or music or something. I just leave it. What I noticed is that in that period, your head is overeating. You have a lot of ideas that are going through your head at the same time. So your brain is trying to pick something, but it's not picking it, and you are getting frustrated because of that. Everything is just turning to an emotional turmoil at that point. So when you leave it and you just allow it rest, you allow your brain go away from it for a while, you will notice that at a particular time, you just have a light bulb moment. One of those ideas you've been working on since, one of them just comes to the forefront, and you just like, this thing I've been thinking about since, how? And you were just right here, and I didn't know that this was the answer. So I think, for me, that's what works for me. Some other people, they can just go and take a swim, and while they are swimming, they just get more inspiration and things like that, So just understand what works for you.
Thank you so much. All right, we can only take 2 more questions before we play the game. So, wow. Well, now we all want to ask questions. Interesting. The lady first. Not because it's a cliche, she actually signaled to me first. All right, so please, I think we'll take all the questions at once. I think they're just 3 people. We take all the questions at once, and then we have Toby help us with answers. All right?
Okay, so Mr. Toby, you talked about being a jack of all trades. And I think I'm also that kind of person. I want to be this, I want to be that. I've learned different things.
Please, can you stand so we can see you?
Okay. Mr. Toby, you talked about being a jack of all trades, and I think I'm also that kind of person. I want to be this, I want to be that. I've learned different things so far. But there's this saying that jack of all trades, master of none. And I think that thing, it's really true because I don't stand out. I don't think I stand out on a particular thing. So I always wish my mind can be so focused on one thing. And even the time I spend learning different, I can just be focused on one thing and be a very good professional on that thing. But I'm actually confused when he said it's very good to be a jack of all trades. So.
I'm sure we know that statement is not complete. Jack of all trades, master of none, but he's a doer of a lot of things. So it's actually a lot longer than what you mentioned. But I'm sure he has an answer for that.
Hi. So my question is concerning deep work. So we understand that
Please,
deep work is...
Can you stand, please?
It's like having uninterrupted, setting aside some uninterrupted time to do something. Like different people address that in different ways. You can have different techniques to do that. Personally, I favor the Pomodoro technique. My question is, do you have any technique to like concentrate on doing something, especially considering the distractions around? Like, do you have a technique that works for you?
Let's take the final question. I mean, after this, we can't take questions anymore. We have
Morning, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, being a perfectionist.
Okay.
Like, how do you deal with that? Because given that you have an idea and you just want to keep working on it, you want to work on the product before you scale or before you take it out there. And at the same time, you just have to take it out there anyway. You cannot have it fully formed. But then when you take it out there, you just see the reception and it blacks out. Like, that's the end. You work on another thing. Like, what is the process? How do we approach that?
All right. Let him answer the first three and then we'll take the next. And it's three already, so he doesn't get all muddled up. No, you would ask. All right. So let me, the first question is, how do you manage being a jack of all trades? How do you manage it?
Okay.
Right? Am I right? Yeah. So how do you manage it?
Yes.
And still do good work?
Yeah. So I think it's jack of all trades, master of none, but better than a master of one.
One, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the full...
Yeah, that's the full thing. Because when you're a jack of all trades, you know something about everything. Or you know something about a lot of things. More than the person that knows something about just one thing. So you have a diverse... you have diverse options of what to do. So how do you manage that? I would use myself as an example because now myself I sabi. So please just take a cue from me, maybe. I do a lot of things. I do a whole lot of things at once, and really, I don't think there's a better way for me to work than that. That's how I can work, because in doing one thing, I get answers to another thing. It even helps me connect the dot. But when you are a jack of all trades, especially in these times, I would advise that you have a focus area. You understand yourself and have a focus area that this is where I'm jacking my jack in. I don't know. So if you notice the things I do, most of the things I do are very skill, what's it called? You need a level of skill to be able to work it. I mean my businesses. So I'm in the fashion side. I'm in the furniture side. I'm in the salon side. I have a system to how I actually do this jack of all trades. So everything connects. They connect in a sense. So I'm trying to build...
Basically like lifestyle.
Yes, lifestyle. So lifestyle, that's what I do around. So all the things I do, they have similar, similar answers to the question. So how do I make sure that those similar answers, I can be able to answer them easily? I build teams. I have teams that work with me. I have people that work with me. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to have teams yet, but at a level, you limit what you are doing part-time. At some point in my life, I was doing 2 things at one time, just 2. At some point, it was 3.
at some point, I can't even count them. I just know that they do. Anyone will come my front like that. But the thing I've been able to do in the time is that I've been able to understand a system that works for me. And the system is that I walk around a particular circle. I've defined myself within a circle. I said Africa, that's a buzzword. I already know that the things I do are Afrocentric. They're in the Afrocentric space. So if you look at my furniture, look at my salon, look at what's it called? The brands, even from the names, you already know that they are very Afrocentric in nature. Then other things is that how do you do them? You get people to work with you on these things like that. So being a jack of all trades, I don't know what field you are in. Maybe we can speak about that later, and I can put more context into the how I advise on what to do for you. But understand that systems are actually what is very, very important for you. There are a lot of people that would that would do a lot of things in this life. That will be multi-potentialite and do a lot of things. It's important that you know that your multi-potentialite is coming to a point where it's going to peak, and you're going to be doing just one thing. So just know that all the things you are doing, even the ones that are frustrating, they are a means to that end. It might be when you are 40 years old that end will come, that you will now focus on that. Yeah, that you focus on one thing. But you are building capacity in different spaces to be able to know that one thing eventually. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So I guess this also answers the question of, as a multi-creative person, how do I know what to do first? The advice is simple. Try and become a generalist. Do everything you can do, but build a system around it. A system is very important. So that, as for instance, if you are a data professional, if you're not a creative, you're a data professional, you know how to do data analytics, you know how to do data science. You can literally build a system, because that's an industry. So there's artificial intelligence, there's robotics. Even if you dabble into all those things, you're still playing with data. So that's your system. Do you understand? So that's what it means when you have so many skills and you're doing that. The second question is, do you have a specific technique that you use? It may not be, the technique you mentioned was named after that guy. So do you have a specific technique that you use? You may call it, you may be named after you, but do you have a specific technique that you use to ensure that you concentrate? So I think your question is about concentration, Abi. Yeah, so do you have a technique that helps you to concentrate?
Okay. Yeah, I do. There are some things I put in place to help me work well.
Okay.
So because I do a lot of things, you cannot lie. Let's be honest with ourselves. You cannot focus on everything at once.
True.
You can't. So I understand that. So I have time for when and what. So Mondays I am here. Tuesdays I am here.
Okay.
Wednesdays I am here. Thursdays I sleep. Friday I am here. Saturday I am here. So I go church. I'm very active with church and all of that. So you have to put everything into consideration. There's a burnout culture that is happening now where we just burn out easily and stuff. We are all getting to the process of we will understand ourselves better as we go, and I hope we can be able to even document for the generation coming, because they're even going to be worse than us. So there's that burnout culture, and it's born out of it comes out of that we actually number one, we're hyper connected. There's the hyper connectivity that is going on. So sometimes if I want to do work, I disconnect from Instagram, from Twitter, from everything for a while. Maybe 1 week. And that 1 week, trust me, the kind of things I'll produce is going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy. But some of us don't know how to actually detach ourselves from these things, from these social platforms. I understand, trust me, but it's not easy. But then, for you to do some kind of heavy work, you need to be able to remove all those distractions. That reels is of the devil. It's not Jesus that actually... Because you can be on reels and just say, let me just watch one reel now. And before you know it, 2 hours, you have just been scrolling and just going. And it's just 15 seconds, 10 seconds, and you're just scrolling. And everything is interesting. Like, back to back to back. People are very creative in this generation. Talent is too much. Then you just be scrolling. You just see somebody that was able to draw something with just splashing paint. Then you are scrolling again. You see a model, different things like that. So
Yeah.
you need to understand that there's a part where you need to detach yourself for you to attach yourself to your work fully. It's like you are glued to your work in that period and you don't go away. And also, like I said, be able to divide yourself between all the things that you do. And one thing I have noticed is that I have a question from my other job, like something is bothering me from my other job, and I don't have an answer to it.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions to still take, but how do we manage this? There's a pending question, and then... All right, so Toby, briefly, if you can help us, because we need to play the game, and then we also need to go into breakout rooms. So how many of us saw the sessions, the masterclass sessions, where there are like 4 different topics with 4 different facilitators? How many of us saw that? So there is one on how to land your dream job without sending 3,000 CVs and emails. There's one on he's handling one where he's literally telling you how he built the street church community. There is one on digital money, how to use Forex, crypto, and all that to grow your income. And then there is also one on productivity. All right? So I think after this question and the game, we'll just go straight into the masterclass, because the facilitator for the next Fireside Chat is on his way. So, Toby, 2 questions. The first question is, how do you deal with perfection? Are you a perfectionist? I think maybe that's the first question. So how do you deal with that? And then the second question would be, I'll get the second question so you can start with that.
Okay, I think there's nothing perfect about our whatever it is. The only perfect person or perfect being is God. So all of us, we remain rough with the rough arm. So you should understand that first. I got into a bubble myself where I wanted things to come out so perfectly that it actually delayed me from actually making progress at some point. That you are just overthinking things. That's just the truth. You're overthinking. It's better to do it and fail and learn and tweak that failure and make it better than for you to just have something on your shelf and say that I want it to be perfect. 2 years, it's not out. 3 years, it's not out. Trust me, perfection is all in your head. It's all in your head. I know that because some of the work that I've put out, I'll give you an example of, so I have a furniture called the Danfo chair. It's conceptualized after the Lagos Danfo. And
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. And the day we were going to do the shoot, I already had a plan in my head that this is how it's going to be and all of that. But thank God for God that God disrupted that plan. And we just had to think on our feet and do something else. I don't know if you've looked at the picture.
By the,
under Ojota Bridge. No, Ojota Bridge,
yeah. Was at the bus stop.
We just put it there and there were Danfos going by and we took the picture and someone was beside it. And that was not the plan. I had a totally different plan. Not so far, but it was not. I was not happy with I was not really happy with. I hesitated in putting it out, but I showed it to somebody, and it was like, oh, more waiting there.
I was stunned. I think I saw it on a foreign website.
Yeah, I was like, oh, more. Before I knew, he pushed me to put it out, and I did put it out eventually. I was looking at a lot of this is not, and it was after I put it out that Vogue magazine, they saw it. They reached out that, Alpha, this is beautiful work, let's put it up and stuff. I've done that work since 2017. Till today, I still get a lot of international people that have come and I've sent that chair. I don't send and go New York. Places where I never reach there. You don't reach there. So if I was trying to be a perfectionist and say, okay, this, I'm not putting it up, I'm just keeping it there and it's not going to, and nobody else is going to see it. I'm doing myself now.
True.
I won't be making out now that I was on Vogue magazine. So perfection is all in your head. You are just the one overthinking things. The actual thing you should have in your head is that I'm going to do this. If I fail or if it does not pop the way I want it, I would get feedback, I will understand why, and redo it again. Don't make perfection actually put you in a box of being a thinker and not a doer.
Thank you. Makes sense. I'm sure we all got that. You are only trying to be perfect because you are afraid of failing. So fail. Yeah. When you fail, you iterate.
The fear of looking stupid is always stopping us from
it's good to
our
fail.
best work.
You learn. The final question.
Hi, Mr. Toby. So I'm just really curious. I don't know if you've talked about it before. I probably missed it. So in your name, Icon, did you talk about it already? Okay, please, I'm very curious. Why do you call yourself Toby Icon? And please, you guys, respond with energy. You guys are... Hi. My question was to Toby. I was very curious why there's an icon in his... Why does he refer to himself as Icon? And then I came to say again that please, though, he has been saying very, very interesting things. If you give us some energy, give him some energy as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's take that and we proceed.
Okay.
So why you called Icon?
Now, I wish I had a very, very good story behind it now, like, so that I'll say something happened. But while I was in uni, I joined a group then, and it was for... it was a political movement for Nigeria, Africans, like that. And we used to call the group Integrity Icons. Oh. So, and everybody was mandated to use icon in front of them. So I just decided to pick up that icon. But I just noticed that after like 6 months, the group went down. Yeah, but I kept the name, and people kept calling me Icon. And since then, I've been doing iconic stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. All right. Beautiful. Before we play this game, let's rise and do some little... Let's stretch a bit. We've been sitting... I'm not sure you noticed, but we've been sitting for over 2 hours, if I'm right, if I'm correct. So let's stretch our legs. Let's rise. Come on. Let's rise. Let's wiggle it out. Please, if you can give us some danceable music. Please play Gaze Baba, Elijah Level. How many of us love that song? Yeah, give us something to dance to. Let's wiggle it out a bit. Yeah. We're waiting. This is also an opportunity to just, I'm sure if you were wearing your smartwatch, yeah, I would have told you to stand up and take a walk because it's been over an hour. Just a brief shout out to a couple of the around, from clothing to food to footwears to fitness. You can literally explore. There'll be time to still explore today. Tomorrow is the main trade fair where you can come in and buy stuff. But we have everything from food to footwears to books, perfumes, fitness, parfait, juice. A lot of all the nice things. Please, let's have our seats. The DJ is not... please. Let's have our seats. Thank you. Let's have our seats. All right. The music can go on for a while. I want our brains to... All right, thank you. Thank you. The media team, are we good to go? All right, how many of us have played a Keynote game before? How many of us has played a Keynote game before? Okay, one person. All right, so we are going to have a Keynote game where there will be questions on the screen and then we answer. So it's basically a true or false question. So I read the question out and we answer true or false. All right, please, can we have it on the screen? All right, the first question. Hello, everybody, let us participate. Please, all the chat at the back should please stop. And let's focus on the screen. Let us participate. So we can chorus the answers. So from the things we've learned today, career is long-term, yes or no? True or false? How many of us believe it's true? I mean, with show of hands, please. Oh, great. So we got that. Next question, please. Just a couple of questions to ensure that we reinforce the things we've learned. So one of these is not part of the process for being dependable at work. So we have red, blue, yellow, and green. We can literally, you've given us the answer already now. You've given us the answer already. Next question, please. As a creative, observation is not vital for success. True or false? Are you sure? They've told us it's correct. The next question. Now, deep work involves understanding your market before producing. True or false? True. Let's see. Is true the right answer? Okay, we're correct. And I think this is the final question. All right. Next question, please. Great ideas are useless without research and work. True or false? How many of us really believe it's true? Don't give us the answer yet, but how many of us really believe it's true? Do you know there are people that they call them ideas merchants? They don't work, they don't do anything. They just think and they sell the ideas. So that's the work. All right, the answer is true. Thank you everyone for participating. Please, can we have the flyer with the masterclass topics on the screen? Right about now, we want to, so there's going to be a brief demarcation across our sitting. But let's have the masterclass. All right, so there are going to be 3 sessions now, not 4 anymore, because one of the facilitators is unavailable. I didn't get that. Is he here? All right. Let's just take the next 5 minutes to catch our breaths while we'll prepare ourselves for the next session. So the facilitator is around. We're going to have his own fireside chats before we break out to learn from each and every one of the facilitators. All right. DJ, can you help us with some music, please? Right, thank you very much. All right, in the next 45 minutes to 50 minutes, we are going to break out into groups of 4. There's going to be a session on CV writing, basically CV optimization. I'll be taking that session. That's the first session. There's going to be a session on digital money. So those of us that are fascinated by Forex and Bitcoin and all that, there's going to be a session on creating culture-shaping communities. If you're a creative, you need to build communities. A large chunk of your revenue comes from building communities that love your work. If you're a corporate person here and you've been at home for a while, or you are home because of ASU, and you're about to get into the job market, you understand that it's very important you know how to sell yourself through your CVs. And then if you have money and you have quite some good money and you feel like you need to grow that money, the digital money session is for you. And then if you're someone that just wants to improve your work ethic, you want to do more at work, then the productivity session is for you. All right. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to make, can everybody do this together with me? Where we're seated, let's make like a mini circle with the chairs around us. Quickly. So you don't need to turn that, then you're set, you can make another circle behind. Then from there you can make a circle behind. Yeah, let's make a circle in front. So that we'll break out into groups. So we have group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Please, now is not the time to buy and sell anything. Please, if you are a vendor, this session was also created for you. You can be part of any of the sessions you choose. All right, so the session, the group in front of me will be the group for CV optimization. That's where you want to remain. The group on my right will be the group for creativity. I'm creating culture-shaping communities. That's Icon's group. The group behind Icon's group is the group for productivity. And the group behind the CV optimization group is the group for digital money. So let us make our choices quickly. So this is the group for CV optimization. This is the group for creative storytelling and culture shaping societies. Okay. The group behind is the group for digital money. And then the last group is the group for productivity. You want to talk to me? All right. Please can you help me get Mr. Olubori Paul for his class? Icon, Remy, nice to have you join us. All right, so Remy, your class is this class on productivity. The one, yeah, please raise your hand if you're productivity. That's Remy's class. Okay, yeah, we'll still move. Don't worry. This is a class for Toby. Icon, this is your class. This is my class, and then that is Paul's class. This is my class, and that's Paul's class. Paul, please, if you're be your class. All right, so let's move this forward. Everyone, we're working together. Let's move our classes back, our chairs backward so that we don't distract.
Dear students, do you have your pens and your paper? Your pens and paper. Someone is holding a phone. Okay. Have a wonderful time learning.